Welcome to episode 26 of PokeClass. It's been a while since the last episode due to illness and the running of my online tournament, but I'm back and there's a few things going on. It's finally that time again when we hear about rotation. Now this may be a sad thing as it means we're coming to the end of a great season, but we still have the best parts to come, Nationals and Worlds. What's making the news of rotation even more interesting is the time at which it may happen. Due to many worried players showing their concern about the problem we have with Sableye, outlined in my last episode, Pokemon have decided to take some form of action. Instead of implementing a ban list or changing the way cards work, Pokemon have decided to monitor the situation over the Battle Roads period and then decide on what to do about it. So what will they change if it's a big deal? Well, they've released an official statement saying that come Battle Roads, if the situation with the new black and white rules and Sableye becomes as expected, then the rotation will happen on the 1st of July. This means that US Nationals could be playing an entirely new format to the past year, with only a week's official notice. However, this is completely up to Pokemon International, and we won't know until Battle Roads are in full swing. If they feel that it won't be such a problem, then rotation will happen as normal on the 1st of September. So what does this mean for the UK? Well, not much actually. Originally we thought that we could be possibly entering a bad time, where all cards from Majestic Dawn all the way up to Black and White would be legal, along with Black and White rules. Since Pokemon announced that a mid-season rotation would happen on the 1st of July, it wouldn't affect our Nationals at all, considering it's over a month before this. However, it has been confirmed that UK Nationals will definitely be Majestic Dawn to Call of Legends, the same as we've had all year. This means there will be no play of black and white cards and no implementation of the new rules. I personally think that this is a great move by Pokemon. With their choice to monitor the situation and choose a course of action accordingly, it wouldn't solve the problem this side of the sea, as our Nationals would have come and gone by the time mid-season rotation hits. So their choice to just keep our format the same as it has been for the rest of the season is a great choice. It does mean that we won't be able to play the new format early and get rid of what is starting to become a bit of a stale format, but it means we won't be worrying about Sableye for the whole tournament. Just to make things a little confusing, for Battle Roads we will be having black and white cards and rules. This will give people a chance to just play around with what could have been if Pokemon hadn't changed the rules. So make sure you have fun at Battle Roads, as it will kind of be a unique format with some interesting decks coming from it. You may have noticed, but I haven't actually mentioned what the rotation will be. Most of you may know by now, but it's Heart Gold, Soul Silver onwards. This means that a whole 7 sets will be made illegal for competitive play, rather than the usual 4. That's quite a lot of cards to lose in one go, but maybe it's what the game needs. Unfortunately, us in the UK won't be seeing a Heart Gold, Soul Silver format until we hit next season, or unless you're going to Worlds. I'm personally looking forward to the change in format, as we've had pretty much the same decks dominating for the past few years. New and fresh ideas that are a little out there will have a chance of working next format, which I like quite a bit. Fair enough, we lose a lot of key cards, but we are still left with some great cards to get some creative juices flowing. So what cards do we lose that are fairly important right now, and what do we have to replace them in the future? The next part of the episode is going to look at a short list of the most important changes, while we look forward to what will be a great format. First up, let's talk about search cards now and when we hit Heart Gold, Soul Silver on. At the moment, there are a lot of search cards each equipped differently from different decks. One of the key losses we'll experience is Bebe's Search. Bebe's Search is such a versatile supporter and is included in pretty much every single deck I can think of. Bebe's Search allows you to place a card from your hand into your deck and choose any kind of Pokemon and place it into your hand. This means it can be Basic, Stage 1 or 2, Legend Piece, Level X, or any other kind of Pokemon there is. The new format won't have much to replace this, apart from Pokemon Communication, and possibly Professor Elm's training method, but I'll talk about those later. Next up, we have 2 of the most important ball cards, Luxury Ball and Premier Ball. Now Premier Ball won't be useful at all in Heart Gold, Soul Silver on, considering the Level X mechanic will no longer be around, but Luxury Ball is a different story. Luxury Ball lets you search for any Pokemon apart from a Level X and place it into your hand. This is a really powerful card, as it can net you a key Pokemon without exchanging any from your hand. This would be a really missed card considering it would be able to search out any Pokemon in the new format. From the same set, we also lose Pokédraw Plus. This card was key in decks such as Shuppet, Gyarados and Machamp to grab a quick setup and start knocking out Pokemon. Playing 2 of these at the same time could net you any 2 cards from your deck without restrictions. Losing these will definitely help to slow down the format, so most people won't be sad to see them go. The final one I've chosen from the search cards is Beginning Door. Now this is a strange one, as it hasn't seen much play, but will be secretly missed by many. Arceus has been a deck that has been around, but not played massively. A lot of people were considering a Rising Rivals onwards rotation, which means that Arceus would have been a deck that would have shone with its speed and versatility. But since we have skipped so many sets, Arceus won't have its chance to see major play in the competitive world. If you still want to keep this deck alive, then go ahead and play it while you still can. So what else are we going to miss out on when the rotation hits? Well, we can certainly say goodbye to a whole archetype that's been the bane of some people's season, SP. That's right, considering we won't have anything pre-Heart Gold Soul Silver, the entire SP mechanic will be gone. That means no Luxrays, Garchomps or Cyrus engines anymore. Many of you will be pleased to hear this, but I've been an avid player of SP since joining the game and I've enjoyed playing every game with it. This is big enough news within itself, considering it's been in so many dominating decks for the past 2 seasons now. If we end up having a mid-season rotation, we'll definitely be seeing something else take the world's title other than Luxchomp. Other losses include many stadiums that help a ton of decks out there at the moment. Conductive Quarry, Snowpoint Temple, and most importantly, Broken Time Space will be gone. The loss of Broken Time Space hurts us as Stage 2 deck builders now, but it will help to slow down the game where we currently have a ton of speed. Overall, we have a lot of losses considering the amount of sets we've lost. Other key cards include Looker's Investigation, Pokemon Rescue, Expert Belt, Warp Point, and VS Seeker, which are all cards we are very fond of at the moment. So what does this mean for the game when rotation hits? What will we have left? Well, here's a few interesting cards which will be splashed into a lot of decks post Heart Gold Soul Silver. First up, we have Pokemon Collector, one of the most important cards in the current format as well. Being able to grab 3 basics from your deck will be crucial next format, considering you'll need to bench them as soon as possible so you can get the first evolutions in. There's not much doubt that this card will be maxed out in future decks. Next we have a card which pairs incredibly well with Pokemon Collector, and it's Pokemon Communication. This card will be key for searching out any Pokemon that isn't basic, since we won't have Bebe Search anymore. Sure, you'll have to exchange one Pokemon for another, but this is where Pokemon Collector will become more useful when paired with this card. You'll be able to grab 3 basics, 2 of which you may need, and then the third you can use for grabbing a stage 1 or 2 from the deck. This will be another card that will be high in demand, as it will most likely be maxed out in new decks. This next card is a questionable one, Professor Elm's Training Method. Most are saying that this card will be the replacement for Bebe Search, but testing is starting to suggest otherwise. Elm's Training Method allows you to search your deck for any evolution card and place it into your hand. This seems better than Bebe's in a way, that you don't have to exchange a card from your hand, but it does only restrict you to getting a stage 1 or 2. You will probably see this card splashed into most decks at around the 2 or possibly 3 mark. We have another Professor up next in the form of good old Professor Oak. Professor Oak's new theory, or Pont as it's more commonly known, lets you shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 6 new cards. This card will be a definite addition to most decks, considering we lose all draw power in the form of Uxie. This card saves you from a bad starting hand or just being able to draw more cards if you play this while holding, for example, 3. A very versatile card which can recycle your own cards into your deck as well as drawing more on top of that. We'll probably see this at around the 2 or 3 copies in new decks. This next card is the final Professor in the new format, Professor Juniper. This card is very similar to Pont and an exact replica of base set Professor Oak, apart from the fact that it's a supporter now. This card allows you to discard your hand and draw 7 new ones. This sounds bad at first, but decks contain techs and cards which you just won't need in certain matchups, so you might as well get rid of them and draw 7 fresh ones, which is a lot of cards. This is probably the strongest draw power we'll have in the form of a supporter, considering you get to draw 7 fresh cards rather than putting cards from your original hand back into the deck with Pont. The number you should include in a deck has been debated heavily at the moment, but I'm thinking it will definitely be around 3 or 4 copies in most decks. The sheer amount of cards you could draw of this supporter is simply too good not to include. Pair this with the synergy of Junk Arm to recover things you may have discarded, and you get a great little engine of drawing and recycling going on. Up next is Copycat, another card that focuses on refreshing the hand and cycling through the deck. Copycat allows you to shuffle your hand into your deck and draw as many cards as your opponent is currently holding. This could be a very strong card to play if the slower format means that hands will stay large. Think of playing this card when you are carrying a low amount and your opponent is holding a fair few more. The numbers of this against Pont will have to be up to players' discretion, as they will have to choose whether to shuffle in and draw a consistent 6, or take a bit of a gamble and possibly get more from your opponent. We will probably see 1 or 2 of these in many new decks. Since we have a very weak form of draw power in the new format, Judge will be a very interesting card to play. This card forces both players to shuffle their hands into their decks and draw 4 cards, not much in a slow format. This card again focuses on recycling your hand, but comes with the risk of drawing very bad cards from it. I can see this being used in 1 or 2 copies to use when you are completely set up, but your opponent is struggling. Since they won't have many cards to increase their hand size, it could be a way to slow them down even further and take a healthy lead in the game. There are a few more cards that I would like to talk about, but it would simply make this episode way too long. Cards like Switch, Revive, and Dual Ball are all very useful cards in the new format, where we need to try and make our decks as fast and versatile as possible with a limited card pool. With the release of Black and White, we got a ton of new ideas to play with. Legends may become more playable since they are completely useless now, and creative ideas can flow without being completely ignored from competitive play. I think we're going to be heading for a very good time when it comes to next season, or maybe even Worlds if we're lucky. I know this won't be affecting us for the time being, but considering there hasn't been much else to focus on, I thought that an excited look into the future would make a great episode. I hope I'm not the only one already thinking about the new format, with all the new ideas which can work well. However, our nationals are coming up fast, and a whole load of testing must be done to ensure a great performance there. The next few episodes will cover all important things about the nationals build up, including what to test, what to look out for, and how to build decks to cater for every single possible matchup. I hope you're looking forward to the next coming weeks, and I hope to see you next week for another PokeClass. Thanks for watching.